This is Carrie with Dark Side of the Library, and I wanted to show you my recent shopping haul. I went to a brick and mortar bookstore here in my town that's actually called Brick and Mortar Books, and I picked up books to tide me over for this snowy weekend and the rainy, snowy week to come. I prefer to buy books in hardback. They just last longer, and when I'm done reading them, I take them to my vacation house so that guests can just dive into some good darker books or thrillers on their vacation. And I really do try to support local bookstores. You can't just go browse and spend time in their store and then go home and buy everything on Amazon to save money, or you won't have any bookstores to browse in. I'm not trying to lecture anybody. So the first book I grabbed is A Serial Killer's Guide to Marriage. There's a mom and dad who have a baby, and they used to be hired assassins or murderers, whatever. And they lived in London, had 5-star travels, and they had to get rid of lots of bad men. Well, now they're trying to leave that behind them, but of course something happens, and to be honest, they've been getting a little bored, but they really don't want the police to find out about their past, because that'll mess up their current life. I'm looking forward to this one. I hadn't heard of Hungerstone until I saw it on the shelf at the bookstore. It's set in the Industrial Revolution, and a woman named Lenore, I'm sure that's an Edgar Allan Poe reference, is married to steel magnate Henry. They go to the remote British moorlands to a hunting party, but there's a shocking carriage accident, as there often are in books like this, and they meet the mysterious Carmilla. She's weak and pale during the day, but vibrant at night. She stirs something deep within Lenore. I hope this isn't too sexy. I haven't checked it out yet. Before long, girls from the local villages fall sick, consumed by a terrible hunger. So it is a vampiric book. I'll save it for the snowiest day and light a fire and have a nice big red glass of wine while I read it. Next, The Queen of Fives by Alex Hay, who wrote The Housekeepers, which was probably my favorite book of last year. They're not super dark. They're set in Victorian high society, and there's a magnificent wedding coming up and a con artist, which is what this author is so good about writing about. Con artists, I love it. Her name is Quinn LeBlanc, and she has 5 days to pull off her most ambitious plot yet, trapping a highly eligible duke into marriage and stealing a fortune from the richest family in England. I am so there for that. It's The Queen of Fives by Alex Hay. Next, at night, at bedtime, I really want a page-turning thriller, and so I grabbed A Killing Cold by Kate Alice Marshall. It's one of those books where an innocent woman from a regular or a poor family is invited to her wealthy fiancé's family retreat, and these always end up badly, which is what I'm there for. So there's an isolated winter retreat, threatening messages on her phone, footprints in the snow outside her cabin window, and also a strange sense of familiarity she has about this place. And suddenly, in an empty cabin that she's snooping around in apparently, Theo finds something impossible, a photo of herself as a child that's been taken there. What? That's A Killing Cold, a thriller, suspenseful read for a nice snow day. Finally, the last book I picked up is Blackwood's Blue Sky by Eowyn Ivey, who wrote The Snow Child, a book I loved reading a couple of winters ago. It was so beautiful. I read it twice. This one has Birdie, who's keeping it together. She's a little hungover sometimes, and she has to bring her daughter to her job waiting tables at an Alaskan roadside lodge with her sometimes. Sometimes she thinks about happier times from her youth when she was free in the wilds of nature. So a dude named Arthur shows up, a soft-spoken and scarred recluse, only appears in town at the change of seasons, and he brings her daughter back to safety after she gets lost in the woods. Most people avoid him, but to Birdie, he represents everything she's ever longed for. She falls for the scarred, creepy recluse, and against the warnings of everyone, they move to his isolated cabin in the mountains on the far side of the Wolverine River. Why would you do this? Why? Anyway, it's just the three of them. They're far from the roads. There's no telephone, no electricity, no outside contact. But Birdie thinks she's come prepared. They're catching salmon and picking berries and climbing mountains, la la la. But soon she discovers that Arthur is something much more mysterious and dangerous than she could have ever imagined. And that, like the Alaska wilderness, a fairy tale can be as dark as it is beautiful. I hope you enjoyed my book haul. Thanks so much for watching.